Okay, I guess the first order of business is for the invocation. Since I'm leading the meeting,
Call order 908.
I'm not gonna do it. Somebody wanna volunteer?
Go for it.
Well, I guess it is me.
You've got the background for it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, let me pray. Father, I pray that today, that you'd give us your wisdom as the EDC board to conduct the business before us in a way that would please you and would benefit our city. We pray that you would help us to use the funds that have been entrusted to this board to create a climate in our city that's economically viable and prosperous. Thanks for all the volunteers and those members of the city staff and others who are present today. We're just grateful for the privilege to be together in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, consent agenda, we have two items on that list. They're listed on the consent agenda by the DEDC Chief Executive Officer. They're recommended to the DEDC Board for a single vote of approval. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda for separate vote at the request of the board request of a board director. A, consideration and approval of the September 24, 18 board meeting minutes. B, consideration and approval of the August 31, 18 income and expenses. Board, do I hear a motion?
I move to approve.
Okay, Bobby moves, so I hear a second.
Yes, sir.
Terry, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Then C, we are on to regular agenda, our new business. Number 1, City Council Liaison, I believe, is not present this morning. Our Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, Rachel Proctor, so we're going to skip number 1 and move to number 2, Growth and Soda Incubator Finish Out and Financial Status Report by Monty Anderson, who I know is in the room. Monty.
Yes.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you going?
Good, how are you? How was the weekend?
Move over here, so. Let's see, I was gone like a lot this last month, on and off, it seemed like on Monday, so we didn't get to, really, get to the business of how we're doing the checks and the deposit, and really, did y'all finish everything, Joe?
You said when could we meet, I said Monday, but you were out of town, so that's, and what we're talking about here is the commissions for the lease space. The way they've always done it is that we lease a spot and say it's $500, then they get a commission for $6,000. They do it for the whole year, but it's a lease. But some of those people probably won't make it the whole year. Or it just looks like we have a little bit of income. We had $14,675 in income, so we had $6,048 in commissions, and that's the reason. It's a 3% commission, but it looks, because it's all up front, it looks big. It'll level out, and we realize, but at the same time, my suggestion was to do the commissions on a month by month. As you collect $500, you get 3% of that, and the next month you get 3%. I don't want individual checks written on it. We can lump them all together, but I think that would be a prudent way for us to move forward.
And we're gonna do that, we'll just modify the listing agreement. That's not the way our agreement was, but we're gonna modify it to do that, so that's it.
Okay, what are the commissions again? Page 14 is the profit loss of the.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Okay, now, what are the commissions? What, 54050, what does that account?
5405 is commissions of the rent.
Is 3% or 5% on the rent charge?
It's 3%.
3%, okay.
It's half, it's less than half of what we normally get, is like 10% on us. We get 3% on commissions, we get 3% on management.
Okay.
And normally we get 10% on these kind of deals, and at least 6 or 7% on management. That would be a normal situation, so it's already half of what the market is. The other thing was with accounting, whether we're touching the money, how we're doing the checks, we never did we get to a conclusion, Joe? We didn't.
We sent some recommendations from the finance department to me, to y'all, and we just haven't got back together to work on all the details on how account for the money, but if it's our money, we should be writing the checks on it probably instead of options, writing the check. So it's just a series of checks and balances. We just got to work out all the final details. And we didn't really have any income coming in this thing until last month, really. I mean, we had, and now we're almost full at the incubator. If y'all been there lately, you know, and it's, so it's, things are changing. We knew there's gonna be some tweaking going on. We just wanna make sure that the city's happy with the way we're, moving forward and Lonnie's,
Here's what I suggest. I suggest that, because Joe, I don't think Joe and his staff has the time or wants to be managing the finances. But what I suggest is that we write all the checks. We do everything that we're doing. The only thing we don't do is sign the checks. That's it.
and I'm fine with that. I mean, we just have to take a series of checks and balances.
We just take a stack of checks every week. He signs them. We send them out. You don't do any of this. You don't do anything. I don't know if that's okay.
Well, the director said, I'm really not looking to sign checks. I mean, I know that y'all want.
But we do, listen, we do this, we take millions of dollars a year for other people and sign checks every year. It's a normal way you do property management. I mean, you get copies of the checks, they can be audited at any time. I mean, but I don't mind if it's a problem here to prepare the checks, bring them over. The only thing we don't do is sign the checks. Everything else is exactly the way we're doing it now. We prepare the financial statements and, we approve the bills. I mean, you look at them, you look at everything. We do what's in our authority of our management agreement.
And this will have to be brought back to the board, as want y'all to know, this needs to be a board vote to change that contract. So it will be on your agenda next month. We'll make the recommended changes, redline it, the way we do it. Our attorney, by the way. Everybody not here.
I know, sir.
Yeah.
Is the wisdom of the city, are you okay with that arrangement? You think that's a workable solution to what is our?
Yes, well, our main concern is just, getting all the information as far as expenditures and revenues and being transparent. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's okay if he controls the account according to our auditors, but we need all invoices, we need all, any revenue that comes in, we need all that information, because they will audit it when they come out.
And we
Oh,
would get.
that is not a problem. You get that. I mean, you get that. You get as much as you want. You can get, and you can come to my office at a moment's notice anytime you want and open up the books. Anytime, no notice. Just come. So I mean, anything that you ever need like that. I got, Rick Keeler's my CFO, and he will give you anything, any way you want it.
Is that acceptable, or do we need to have possession of the invoices?
We need at least copies, if not the originals. And then, like I say, when our auditors come out and audit the city, they will probably make a visit to the office and review what his records.
And that's perfectly normal. That's all very, that's okay. If you want us signing the checks, taking the money in and out, it's in your account, you can see it at all times. You can go online and see everything.
I just didn't want us to be going over and collecting around and dunning people that don't pay. We don't have a great track record of that, even on our little loan program. So, I mean, but I'll do what the board wants.
Mr. Anderson, in the 34,000 account for rent income, that 14.6, is that representation of what, 89? What kind of occupancy is that representation of?
I don't know that right now. I can tell you that we're about 90% on retail.
On retail, got
Yeah,
you.
on the office, we did 3 leases on Saturday,
Uh-huh.
or they said they.
Good,
wanted,
okay.
so, but we had probably 20 leads on Saturday, so.
Okay, so you still got quite a bit of office?
Yeah, it'll slowly, fill up, people know that we actually have office there. 'Cause, I mean, you can get one of those cubicles, I don't know if you saw them at the very back, and they got doors on them now,
Right.
so it's like a co-working space, but you can lock.
Mm-hmm.
You can lock, and those are $350 a month
Yeah.
with internet. So they're pretty cheap, and so the rest of them are all, we're pretty close on all the other offices right now.
Okay. The 67400 account, the HVAC, is that recurring, or is that just one time hit, the 16 something, or is $1,672 in that account? It says HVAC, so I just wonder if it's recurring. I understand utility is recurring and your janitorial, your computer, all that. HVAC threw me off a little bit.
$1,600?
Yeah, 1672.46.
I don't know what that is.
You had to replace one of those units, is that?
Yeah, but,
That's a one-timer is what I'm asking.
it may be for some kind of maintenance, the replacement we do is on us. It may be some kind of maintenance, I can find out what that is and send, and email Joe back.
Joe, okay, that's fine. I'm just trying to understand the profit and loss statement.
Would you guys rather have, this board meeting, like all these invoices attached to your financial statement? Do you want that much detail?
And detail, you know, I was just trying to find out if that's recurring. Everything else.
That's not recurring.
It's not, I didn't think it was. That was one time hit, hopefully. Okay. I mean, without that in there, you got profitability, just that month itself without that in there, but, okay. All right, thank you.
Great, any other questions, board?
A couple other things, just from operations and what we gotta do. I mean, I've had grand openings, you know, one time I had a hotel, we had a grand opening, everybody came, and that was in December, and January 1, there was one person in the hotel staying in my hotel, one. I had 4 staff, one, that's not good. So this could be a little depressing, you know, this week if, you know, it's like this big high. I mean, some of our tenants, our food people did $4,000 on Saturday. Let me tell you, for a restaurant, that is a huge number. That is huge. Events, I mean, I just talked with Terry, and I tried to call Vanessa yesterday just to talk, but we need 52 events a year. You know, we really programming, marketing, programming, and then them doing their thing. That's one thing that I noticed. And by the way, I mean, Rachel, Vanessa, Terry, I mean, you know, old Joe, I mean, it was such a good job. Lena and our, you know, Chris and our maintenance, but everybody did such a really good job. It just looked so good. It just looked right.
And I told some, and some merchants came to me and said, we need to do this every week, don't need to do the same thing next. I said, I don't think my board's gonna spend $13,000 a week. I mean, we had trouble getting $13,000 for this grand opening, but that's what we spent, and it is what it is. But, we've always told them, when we first meet with them, that you're going to do your own marketing. You can't rely on us to do all your marketing for you. You've got to get your Facebook and everything going and do your own marketing. Some of them don't understand that, to this day. I'm sorry. We do as much hand holding. This company's doing a great job with them, but they really need to do their own stuff. We just can't.
I think there needs to be a committee of tenants, Terry and I were talking about it, a committee that's formed that programs the events. And then the other thing on the retail, the restaurants, I mentioned this before, restaurants are working with their hands and then selling. So in the downtimes, they're working with their hands, so their mind is occupied. You know, idle mind is devil's workshop, as they say. You know, like the retailers that are not building something, that are not manufacturing, they're the ones that are, it's trouble. And in the future, we're very particular on who we allow to come in, because we have a lampshade lady that we met on Saturday who makes lampshades. Now she has to make that stuff during the day, so she's actually a manufacturing, and then it's a sales location for the hour or two a day that there's customers. And I noticed this, and or you probably noticed it too, with retailers are the most negative of all the businesses retailers are. And it's because of this fact, of this idle time on there. And so working with them to get this, you know, to have the manufacturing, I think is really important that I mean, it can become very special, I think, otherwise, but there's some of our tenants right now that, unfortunately, I mean, I hate to project this, but they won't make it. I mean, they're not gonna make it because they just don't have enough things going on. They won't open then, and then they start not opening. We're adjusting hours. We're tuning up hours every week. We're thinking about it. I mean, every day we're thinking about this. Terry and Vanessa and Joe and Lena, we've been thinking about that. So we're open for any suggestions and to create this specialness of coming into a place where you see awesome people working and then there's something to sell. It could really be special one day with that, but it's still gotta take us some time.
I was surprised. I stopped by yesterday at 4 o'clock, The restaurants were open, the retailers weren't. And I thought there's quite a few people in here, that's a shame. I mean, it really is. Those retailers should have been there on Sunday afternoon, just my thought, but whatever. One other question, mine real quick. Time Warner Cable, I see we've got $1,123 bill. You know what that is? I just haven't seen that one before.
It may be, it's our internet, it may be, I don't know if it's,
I don't know.
what if it's 2 months? I wonder if it's 2 months.
I don't know, that still seems like a lot to me.
No, our bill should be 500 or something.
Really? Okay. That's all I have.
It'd be great, Gore, to see those retailers market their stuff at the chamber. Are we gonna have a silent auction? I was at the chamber gala.
We've got several that have, that we're approaching about silent auction items.
Yeah.
And
They
several
should
of them
all-
have
they should all
indicated interest in
participate.
joining the chamber, and of course, they'll individually have, ribbon cuttings when they do that. Someone had posted on Facebook that the new hours of the incubator are 7 PM to 11. That's not
No,
right,
7
is it?
to 9, 7 AM to 9, but that's because the restaurants, I mean, you can actually come in the building during those hours, that doesn't mean that, you know,
Everything's open.
I'm thinking that we should have this is an odd thing, but I'm thinking the retailers ought to be open like 4 to 7. And then Saturdays, 10 to 7, or Sundays 12 to 5. So you make them you're all there for 4. Now then you can be posted by appointment earlier, but you ought to have to be there for 4. I mean, we got it in their leases, they have to be there, and they just don't show up. I mean, on the day of the grand opening, the shoe girls and the 2 anchor tenants as you come in have posted on their space 10 AM to 6 PM on Saturday, and they showed up at 11:10, right before the grand opening. I mean, I was like, we were calling on the phone. We were calling them on the phone saying,
And one of them, she said, I didn't think y'all were open till noon, and she showed up right at noon, the lady on the left was coming. We had to go down, of course, explain the rules to the games we're playing. Here, you kind of do a little turmoil, and Vanessa did a great job handling all that, but, anyway.
that's what we deal with. It's not, it's gonna take some time. It may be, we have 2 tenant meetings a month.
Yes.
One at 9 AM and one at 6 PM. So I show up when we can.
The first and third Thursday of the month, and we meet both at 9 and 6 on those days to get all the tenants in.
And a lot of them tenants work other jobs, correct? So that may be some of the issues, which is not an issue, but it is an issue because it takes their effort away from
Right.
them being there to focus in on that. Because a lot of what they could be doing, and I know you guys have emphasized this from time to time with them, is working on their marketing, their social media.
Yeah, we're
During
doing
all
all
those
that.
times and making sure that they're focusing in on that because that's huge. Their email list, building all that stuff out, sitting there, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing all that.
So it's like Monty said, it's gonna be hit or miss. I mean, you're gonna ultimately, just because of the nature of entrepreneurship, you're gonna have some that make it and some that don't. They're just not cut out for it. And they'll eventually, be weeded out, but,
Another issue is we gotta be careful of them becoming rock stars too early,
right.
like James. Is people are trying to get him to move into like Cowboy Stadium, move into Plano, and I mean, you hadn't even been in business in 3 months. I mean, come on, hold on, whoa, no, let's, be careful.
Do you have some mentors, some accountability folks that could speak with a James students? Because there's
Yes,
some
we're-
training
we're-
stuff
yeah,
that really
yeah.
needs to go down with these guys.
Yes.
I mean, the reason they're not showing up on Sunday or whatever other day is they just don't see the traffic, they probably don't know how to market. So, at the end of the day, I would hope that there's a marketing person, I think, got hired with the city. We should really try to come
Yeah.
together and try
And
to
I'll
help
tell you about
drive
some of
from our
those, yeah,
side.
yeah.
Any event we can, and then train them on how to drive themselves.
They're getting, I mean, we've
They're
had a
getting a lot of
chef,
that.
we had a chef with them for a year every month. I mean, that
You said a
was
chef?
a chef with every restaurateur. We've got Terry, we've got myself, Vanessa, Joe comes, we've had people come in, Terry's got people coming in. I mean, we got a lot, I mean, they're getting a lot of help. They're getting a lot of help. I mean, we can lead a horse to water, but we can't make him drink. I mean, we can, we're personally, we're spending time with them too. I'm spending personal time with many of them,
then somebody else.
And that's the
okay,
goal.
okay,
That's what they're supposed to
Right,
do.
right,
Supposed to leave.
right, that's right, so.
But don't be too, don't be.
The next ten, the next 10 meetings, the same thing.
Remind me.
Right.
I don't
Don't
want you
blow
guys
up.
to change moving into Cowboy
Yeah,
Stadium.
yeah,
It's
right.
like, please, James.
Yeah, you're doing well.
And then I think too, like even with the crazy potato people, they were successful and they were smart on Saturday. Like
They
they
ran out
were
of potatoes.
sweating bullets, they was running out of stuff, and I was like, and she was like, you could tell she was kinda getting a little frustrated, and I said, this is how it goes, you know, especially if people like what you're
It's a good
selling.
problem.
You just gotta learn how to work through it, you gotta get through it, and you'll be fine. But yeah, they were really, they had the line, their line was like all down the little walkway there. People were coming for
She
that.
really, out of all of them, she really, the chef training that she had, even her salad, if you look at the presentation of her salad and stuff, she really took hold of the training from the chef. I mean, she has a salad that looks like rivals anything in North
Looks like
Cliff
art.
or
Looks
downtown.
like art.
I mean,
It's
it's
beautiful.
very beautiful, and it tastes good, and it's really, her product is really good.
Did you?
Being from the chamber, some of the incubator members are our members. One of the biggest things, especially with the restaurants, is some of it is equipment. Like Crazy Potato can make 15 potatoes at a time every 45 minutes. That's all she gets, and the bigger she becomes, that it just doesn't hold that. So it's sitting with them, coming up with ways, if I can't get more equipment, get a Cambro. Because what we did was, we went with Top 5 because they do potatoes. And so they're gonna give her a Cambro to kind of help her preserve more potatoes for a while until she can kind of meet her demand. Because before the grand opening, this was an issue she was having. Because on Sundays, for instance, I come visit at least 3 to 4 times a week. She had a family of 8, and that was like half her potatoes were gone. And she was having to ask people to wait or try to sell them a salad, but you're known for Crazy Potatoes. And based off of her inventory list and going through things, she needs to be able to have way more than 15 every 45 minutes prepared. And so it's just meeting that demand that's coming her way. Especially now being an observer, going into the grand opening, going into becoming a member and getting a ribbon cutting, it's just going to continue to increase for her. And so it was that. The same thing with the empanada place. We sat down, we talked. The fryer, the demand, she had one person order 30 empanadas at one time.
Wow.
That's her whole inventory because the fryer can't hold that particular amount with being able to still sell to your customers who are getting their 2 and 3 at the same time. So it was those little things that I think that they're needing guidance with. And then even when Terry invited us to come and meet with some of the tenants, when they bought one of them, the lady who makes her jewelry, one of the issues she ran into was she said, I need somebody, I'm just gonna be honest, I need somebody to hold my hand. She was like, I don't get the inventory, I don't. So we talked about offering classes, things like that. One of the other things they talked about was the hours that you all get to meet. I know you meet with them, we met with them at, I think it was 9 or 8? 9 o'clock, and then you meet at 6. And so like for Crazy Potato, for instance, she was in a meeting with you all, but she had customers come in because that's prime time, that's lunch, that's dinner hour. So she lost customers because nobody was there, but she can't afford to keep her
She
employees
should've came in at 9
there.
a.m. I mean, it's really. that's
Well,
why
we have to have
2
that
meetings.
balance though, because then I have to have time to prep. So it's just, I'm just saying, this is just me talking to them and coming from restaurant, listening to them and understanding what is the need. And I know like with Terry, like when the young lady from the jewelry company was talking to her, from that instance, she's looking like, Terry has all these babies in here. And so I can't just come to Terry. So just making sure we all provide that avenue for them. I know we talked about offering them the Goldman Sachs with the DCCD, offering some more workshops for them to be able to attend during hours that may work for them. And the thing is, we're working together. So, you know, it's just those little things that are brought up that we just have to be aware and listen to, because it is like having a daycare of children who are all trying to get answers, and they have different questions at different times. And so it's just keeping that in mind. We're here to support as well. So whatever tools that we can use from the chamber, we want to make sure we're providing that to them as well in every way to help. We met with Vanessa after we met with Terry. And one of the things with Peace, Love, and Eats, they're one of our members. One of the issues they had was the domestic violence flow being on the same day, but it was being advertised at the time before anything for the grand opening was being put out. And so I immediately came with Vanessa, and I was like, this is one of the concerns they have, what should we tell them? And I mean, within 2 days, I don't know if Vanessa did anything, within 2 days, it was at DC3, it was no longer on your property. But it was an issue that tenants brought forward, and I don't know if they felt like, I don't wanna say anything, you know, they're really shy.
They brought it up.
Yeah, and so immediately we met and we sat
The
down.
complaint, you know, you can't, you gotta, I mean, I deal with this, I've been dealing with hundreds of these tenants for years and years, and, you know, some of the stuff, you know, they're just, it's just talk, it's just chatter. I mean, you know, that was ridiculous to me on that domestic violence, it didn't hurt anything. I mean, the city asked us if it was okay to put it over there, and we said, okay. I mean, there was plenty of people coming to this event, there's many other things they need to worry about, these occupants. They need to worry about cooking their potatoes and stuff. They got plenty of other things to worry about. I mean, to deflect it is allowing them to basically allow them bad behavior. You know, it's allowing, you know, and that's what I told them. You get in there and get to work on your stuff. You quit worrying about this other stuff. People are coming, you quit worrying about it. I mean, it didn't hurt anything. People stopped and had their pictures taken by that and took the little flowers out of it. I mean, the city asked us to put it over there. I mean, so we said yes. You know, because more attention to the property, it brought more attention to the property. So, I mean, lots of things, some things you gotta listen to them, I realize, but those things are just like chatter. It's just like talk. It's not the issue. They need to get to the issue. They need to make sure they open on time. It's basics, ABCs. That's what we need to practice, ABC, over and over. It's not, you know, we need to be careful of reacting to every single thing that they ask us. I get it every day. So I mean, we have to be careful with getting too many messages too, you know, without it coming through, you know, a central point here. We have to be really careful because they can use us against each other and so we just gotta.
And I think that's just lines of communication. When it was brought to me, I didn't just answer. I came and talked to her because I'm like, I don't know, you know, it's not my property. But the last thing I want to do is communicate something differently than what Terry may have communicated or what you've communicated. So I do not take anything that they say and not talk to one of the people who we work with as far as the EDC. I do not bring it to their attention because I feel like, again, Terry is the one who's handling them there. And if there's a question that they have of us that's not chamber related and it's not something we can help on, then of course I'm gonna make sure you all are aware of it, for sure.
Yep, okay, thank you very much. Saturday was a great day, grand opening, and thanks for everybody that contributed and was there. It was, I met a lot of new people that were real excited about our incubator, so, way to go, EDC. Thank you, Monty, appreciate your time with us this morning. I wanna acknowledge, Michelle Jordan.
Hi there.
Morning, good to see you.
Morning.
And our Mayor Pro Tem, Rachel Proctor, is here. And so let me give you the floor, and you can share with us what's going on this week.
Okay, I just have a few things I wanted to first kind of lead in, with just expressing my thanks and my gratitude and my excitement about, how well the incubator grand opening did.
That shirt on?
Go. Yeah, I didn't get my shirt Saturday, so I said I got it. So, yeah, it was just amazing. I was overjoyed to see all the people that were coming out and just the excitement that the community had, because a lot of the people there, were not necessarily friends of anybody that was there, friends or family. So a lot of people just were genuinely interested and genuinely excited to see this come in our community. There was a lot of positive feedback on social media with, people sharing the information and just people talking about how great it was and just thinking about the opportunities that it presents for these entrepreneurs right here in our community. So I'm just really excited about that. Also, I wanted to remind everybody that early voting starts today. For elections, we also have a city council election that is, gonna be on the ballot, Tricia Ledbetter and Kay Brown. So, if you have a chance, again, just make sure you vote and vote early, I say. And so y'all will know about that. Also, I just wanted to mention that we did, authorize the city manager to purchase another piece of property at 110 Northampton Road. It is the actual pool place. If you know where the pool place is there on Belmont and Hampton. There, and it is right there next to the gas station. So that was authorized at last week's meeting. Do you all know, maybe, possibly, probably not, the balance, as far as the bond as far as what we bought, in that, or could you find it out?
We spent probably about 1.5 million so far.
Okay, out of the 6.4.
But it was 6 million, wasn't it?
It was
6.4.
6.4.
Okay.
So not, and that was 2014, so yes,
So it's
not a
yeah, it's not
significant
trash.
amount that has been spent from that fund.
Is there eyes out there on other properties right now you guys are looking
Yes,
at?
and we've discussed additional ones, but of course in executive session,
Right,
so
sure.
I'm not at
Gotcha.
liberty to share, but yes, we are looking at additional ones. As well as some incentives for, some additional property, and some developers that are interested in this area here. Yeah. So-
Any questions for our Mayor Pro Tem? Hearing none, then we'll move on. Thank you very much, I appreciate that. Next, we have up our Chamber President, Ms. Laura Terhune.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
All right, just a quick overview of what we've been working on, this last month. We did have a ribbon cutting and groundbreaking for the Glow Hotel. We were very pleased that they had their executives here, from corporate, because it was the first in the nation. So we're glad to blaze that trail. We did have the incubator ribbon cutting on Saturday. Thank you for allowing the chamber the opportunity to help you with that. We were pleased at your turnout. Congratulations on a very successful event. Tomorrow is the ribbon cutting for Roma's Italian Bistro. And then, of course, we have the groundbreaking next Monday, 2 p.m. For the Transitional Rehab Center. That's the 100-bed nursing facility behind Pollo Reggio. And then last but not least, November 13th, Shamara has set the ribbon cutting for Star Transit to be November 13th at 11:30. We've been meeting with the Industry Hub and Dallas Community College District, Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Project, to put together a series of small business workshops. The challenge is the timing. You know, we've had a history of calling them lunch and learns, and either having a brown bag or serving lunch to our group. For some of these guys, especially the incubator, that's gonna be terrible timing for them. So we're trying to look at, some of them need to be coffee, 8:30 events. Do some of them need to be 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30, to accommodate the day work schedule. So we're gonna be probably rolling out, various trial balloons to see what seems to work. We may come up with a combo where we have a morning workshop and an afternoon workshop type of a back and forth, so that people have an opportunity to do whichever. We're looking at group health insurance. Several months ago, President Trump signed an executive order that relaxed the rules for group health insurance, and we've had 2 opportunities to be able to offer group health insurance to our members. The concept is that you form a group of groups, and that used to be very tightly limited, where all of the individual businesses in the group had to be in the same industry. Well, that would work for a chamber of commerce and other types of organizations, but now that rule has been removed. So your small pharmacist can be in the same group as a church, can be in the same group as a small bank, locally owned bank, might all be one big group. With the target for both of these is really in the one that's called Benefix, is gonna probably have a slightly lower premium, but there's an application process, so you have to fill out a health care questionnaire, and not everyone will get approved. The reason we're looking at the other one is because they have an automatic approval. It's based literally just on the average age of your employees, the average, if you will, gender of your employees, and the zip code where they live. And so there's no medical questions. Premiums might be slightly higher, but they also cover down to 2 employees, where Benefix covers 4 and above. So we're gonna probably roll out 2 options for most of our small businesses. Will be able to get health insurance in one of these group of groups. Small Business Saturday will kick off on Friday, November the 16th, because we're not open on Saturday. So we're gonna kick it off on Friday the 16th. We'll do some sort of maybe a little open house of some kind. The goal is to encourage people to remember to shop local for the holidays. So, this is a project that American Express launched a few years ago, and they offer chambers the opportunity to participate, to be a designated small business location, supporting shop local, and of course that is part of our mission, so we're all over that. We did meet with a local business owner about the revolving loan program. She is in the process of meeting with the SBDC to develop her business plan. She's an existing business but did not have a business plan. And that's one of the requirements of the loan review committees. They want to know that you know about your business and that everything is well organized. So she's meeting with the SBDC, she's gathering her financial information, and then she'll be seeking improvements to her facility. Also, she is interested in the facade program that you all have. So we might come at it with a two-pronged approach so that she can do interior renovations as well as some exterior renovations. I'll let you know what develops from that. Her goal is to be on your agenda for the November meeting. So let's see, down the community guides. 2 weeks ago we're at the printer. I'm expecting delivery any day. We'll get you your supply. Those, remember, are for newcomers, visitors, business relocation, all of that. So that's gonna be a great little guide for people. I finally met face-to-face with the new marketing person from the city, although I had met him at the open house when he was a candidate, so that we've talked about, one of the things that we talked about specifically is that the city had tasked the chamber with coming up with a community calendar, and he mentioned that, and Terry has mentioned that. We know that that is a high need. We actually had a demonstration of a website that we think we're gonna transition to on Friday. And that website will allow us to designate community events, chamber events, member events, and be very specific and have several different calendars all collected in one place. It'll have a way where you can submit your event. It's a quick review before it's approved to make sure that it's not, porn or something that's being promoted. I mean, we get stuff that are promoting things in Terrell, and I'm sorry, that doesn't fit my criteria. I'm here to promote local events. But there is a little approval process, but it's easy to submit. So I think we're gonna be able to solve that community challenge. The group is back from China, and all reports are they had a great time and spent too much money and ate too much Chinese food. Yeah, that was a real criticism, but one of the people in this room actually said we had too much Chinese food, so.
I just want a hamburger or a pizza. I mean, when I hit LAX, I ordered a big hamburger. Swear.
And some water. You can't drink the water over there. Next year, we're planning to go to Tuscany, so he's probably gonna complain he's had too much Italian food. So, but that was fun for our group, and I want the chamber to do a trip every year so that you all know we're going on a trip every year and can plan around it. If you wanna see where we're going, I've looked at South Africa. We had some interest in an India-Dubai trip. The city manager wants to do a World War II tour of Germany and Auschwitz, and so, I mean, there's lots of people interested in what we might be able to offer. The annual gala is Saturday, November 10th. If you all don't have a table, please get your table ordered. People that you know and love are gonna win awards. Businesses that you know and love are going to be presented with certificates or awards, so you will definitely wanna be there in your 70s glam.
With all my leaders, it's there.
It's never too late to go get them out of the closet, Joe. All right, and then last but not least, the city council approved the purchase of the property where we have been officing for the last couple months, and the adjacent properties. So we will be tenants of the city in the very near future instead of tenants of Hampton Road Baptist Church. And we view that as a really good thing that has happened. And I'm gonna ask Shamara. Oh, any questions on my report? Yes, ma'am.
Do you all still own the domain name visitdesoto.com? Didn't the chamber
Not Visit
own
DeSoto,
that?
it's Visit DeSoto, Texas.
Okay,
There are DeSotos in almost every state.
right.
So we don't have Visit DeSoto, we have Visit DeSoto, Texas, either .com or .org. I think it's .com. And yes, we do, we renewed that, a couple weeks ago.
And y'all, is it attached to a website or do you just?
Right now, it brings you to our visitor section of our website.
Okay.
And again, this new website that we're looking at is gonna have enhanced features for visitors, such as a map where they can actually see where they are and interact with the businesses that, are in the area. And it won't just be chamber members, because that's always a concern when you've got a chamber of commerce that's also your visitor center. Oh, you're only marketing chamber members. Well, that's true in the business directory. But when you go to the visitor section to see what is there to see and do and shop and all, it's the whole community, it's all the businesses. So that's a good question.
And can you repeat though, you named 3 ribbon cuttings, for Roma's, the skilled nursing, and then Star Trade. Can you repeat the dates, the times, and the locations for those? I'm
Yes, it's on
assuming
page
skilled
37
nursing.
for your, in your packet.
Okay.
Roma's is tomorrow at 11 o'clock. That's a little earlier than we normally do, but they are, kind of busy at 11:30 or noon. So we're gonna do that 11 o'clock, and we hope everybody will stay and have lunch. And, let's see, ribbon cutting, the groundbreaking is a week from today at 2 p.m. And then Star Transit ribbon cutting on November 13th.
Where are they gonna hold that?
Who?
Star Transit.
At our location.
It's gonna be at the.
Yes, it'll be
next-
at, the chamber.
304 Northampton.
Okay.
Good questions. All right, Shamar.
Just real quick, as y'all can see, there's like a lot more business this month. I visited 31 different businesses this month. Sat down, met with a lot of them. It's been a great opportunity to hear some of the things that they would like to do. We signed up Freedom Chevrolet as one of our new members. Even though they're not in DeSoto, they want to be more active within DeSoto. So they immediately joined our Taste of DeSoto. They will be part of our festival, and they're looking for other small events and other things that they could be a part of within the city of DeSoto. So they are officially part of our chamber at this point. Met with Unique Visions, and we also had a new company sign up with called K3 Enterprises. She is more like the game truck, the bounce houses, and what we've done is the new part of the chamber is Network, Connect, and Grow. And so we're teaching them how to use each other and network together to bring together our businesses. So actually they will be having a fall festival together, combining their businesses at that location. So it's teaching them all how to start using each other to benefit together and us to work as one community. With Glow, we met. They had a great grand opening. One of the things that they had an issue with was they didn't push the tour as much as they would like. So their room sale is not as high as they would have liked it to be. It's being booked more for events because people were so impressed with the lounge and the event room being connected. And which is great. And we talked about some ways to use that area, but they wanted people to take more tours of the room. And so one of the things that we're gonna do is possibly have an after hours there. And we're gonna, at that point, their bar would officially be open. So we'll have an after hours, and during that after hours, they will push the tour more. And it'll allow people to see the room. So just creating other opportunities for them to be noticed. Peace, Love, and Eats, we're gonna most likely do their ribbon cutting in November. They'll be having some more new items coming out for the holidays. So we didn't want to push everything all at the same time with it being the grand opening, then the next day or so your ribbon cutting. So they wanted to kind of do smart marketing, push it out, let's make it big again. So they'll have a ribbon cutting most likely in November to introduce their holiday items. And we have a few more from the incubator who will be joining the chamber as well. We offered them a smaller price that they will all go under the Grow DeSoto Marketplace as a member, so they don't have to pay the full $275 unless they chose to individualize themselves in that way. But it's been great meeting again with all these different businesses. I met with our member Sweetsies, who is wanting to add brisket egg rolls, and then I met with that Tuesday. So what we're trying to do now is work with Sweetsies on using top 5's brisket, top 5 using Fat Tuesdays daiquiri machine. So just trying to connect our businesses to learn how do we use each other and how can we benefit together.
Great. Any questions?
One suggestion, would you mind putting a line? It's kind of hard to read the comments and figure out who they go with. Sometimes it moves up. I'm just trying to, see does that go with this one or whatever. A line with that.
Okay.
Separate them.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
Good idea. Thank you.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Rachel, where's our voting station?
PC3. Decipher Central Church, DC3, also.
Okay, that is it for the chamber. Now we have Melissa Adams, our city rep, our financial guru. Good morning.
Morning. Y'all go to the section on the financial report.
Page 40 in your book.
You ready?
Yes.
All right. So we'll start with the balance sheet through September 30th, 2018. There's currently total assets of $3,687,928. Total checking and savings account for $3,211,509. There's other current assets, a sales tax receivable of $192,912, and that is the August payment that has been accrued into September. The non-current assets account for $271,380, and then total liabilities and fund balance is $3,687,928. On page 41, you'll find a chart of the revenue and expenses by month from October through September. You'll see March, April, and June had negative net incomes, but those were due to payments to Kohl's, Eagle Hotel, Pro Lodges, and in September is also negative, but that is due to a payment to Blackburn and Glow Hotel, which gives a net of negative $836,887 for the year to date. 12 months ending September 30th, 2018 is year to date again. That gives you total revenues of $2,317,670. You still have one more month of sales tax, which will be accrued. So that figure is going to change, but I'll give you that next month. Total expenditures account for $3,154,558. Operations and admin is $662,580. Promotions, $78,179. Long-term debt of $297,119. And granted commitments of $1,875,612. And capital outlay for the incubator is $241,068, with a net income of negative $836,888. On page 43, there's another breakdown of the month-to-date versus the year-to-date. For September September month-to-date, total revenues account for $375,470. Sales tax being $182,000, and then a sales tax accrual of $192,912. Total expenditures are $434,282. Operating and admin are $56,688. Promotion $10,927, and grant and commitments of $366,667, with a net income of negative $58,812. But again, that'll be restated once we receive the September sales tax payment. And the next page, 44, is another breakdown of the year-to-date figures. Everything is pretty much in line except for as compared to budget. Admin and legal fees went over 6,000 over budget. Also, Brook Hollow, I think, the management fees, we'd only budgeted 25,000, but it's actually 35,000. But operation and admin altogether is only 91% of the budget. And on page 46, we have a further breakdown of the summary of sales tax revenue. And it's actually, the budget was $2,297,932, and the actual was $2,304,399. So it's actually actually 100.3%, so it's a positive. It's positive for your sales tax, and again, that'll go up again after we get the, September payment. Do you have any questions?
What's on page 43, on page 43 in September 2018 month to date. Now, down here at the business incubator rent, we had budgeted 27, but we took nothing in September. Am I reading that right?
On the rent,
Yes, you budgeted 27.
oh, yes, that's
Nothing.
because we have not put in the revenues or expenditures from, auctions yet.
Okay.
So we're waiting to get all of those statements, and then, so everything will be restated. Once we get all those statements, we'll put them in by month, so you'll be able to see exactly what the rent revenue was and the expenditures for the incubator.
And
So
that-
right now, the statements are still separate,
Still, okay.
but we have to join them together.
So would that reflect this P and L that he has in here? For the
Yes,
most part?
it will reflect that
Okay.
once we include his.
Okay, and that'll be in the next meeting or not?
Yes, the
Okay.
next meeting, you should have updated figures for September.
All right.
We'll include that.
Okay, thanks. That's all I had.
Anybody else have any questions?
I want to thank Cynthia for doing a couple of charts. You'll be seeing more of those in the future. I want to break down our budget and show you where the money goes, pie charts and different things. I did this in previous locations, so but that's what these charts are for.
That's great.
It'll give you a little more visual.
I like that a lot. Joe, thank you, Cynthia, appreciate that. Melissa, thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Very informative, appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you. Okay, I think we are up to number C5, the Industry Hubs Activity Summary Report for September. Ms. Terry Cooney.
Okay, I gave you a summary of the things that we accomplished this month, but in addition to those, I'm gonna tell you about some upcoming things that we have going on. First of all, we just got a check on Saturday from Legacy Texas Bank for $2,000 as a grant to cover the cost of the large TV and a desktop computer for the conference room. So we want to thank them very much for that. We did have a training session with the certification agency for North Texas. And so they came in, did training for our people to show them how to get their certification, women-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned, whatever. And we're encouraging them, they get everything that they want. The Industry Hub has agreed to reimburse them. There's a $100 fee for that. The Industry Hub has agreed to reimburse them for $50 once they get their first certification. And so that is ongoing. On the first Monday of November, we have an inventory management training program for them. And starting this week, I'm working with a social media person so that we can get all of their social media sites linked. So when somebody posts, it posts every place. And so that's just ongoing with them. I'm also working with another person who is creating a Roku network. She already has a show and they like her show so much they're asking her to develop an entire network. We're gonna be part of that. And part of that will be profiling, doing a cooking show or doing, some kind of demonstrations, but getting more people interested in small business entrepreneurship. So that's what we'll be developing. And then Laura, once we've got that underway, we'll sit down and brainstorm as how we can really leverage that for everybody's benefit. I'm also working with all of the small businesses in the incubator to get them ready to do government contracting, all levels of government contracting, and educating them on how to do it. We're now working on a small contract with the city of Dallas called VMZ 1823, which creates a pool of approved vendors to work in the city of Dallas. They're looking for anybody who can do some kind of a demo or education or any kind of instruction. And they just moved the deadline to November 1st. And so, I think I have 5 people who have completed their paperwork. And so when when I have everything together, I will hand deliver that to Dallas, so it doesn't get caught in the mail someplace. I have 2 new volunteers who will be coming in and working with the Industry Hub, working with all of these businesses to, I know that they're feeling like I'm overstressed, and it's not that at all. They need to still come to me so that I can develop other resources for them, and so we're really working on that. A couple of the restaurants, I've talked to them about developing a football special, and they can do 1, 2, or 3, or 4 restaurants in that special, and each of them have their, you know, what they're gonna offer, and then it's all delivered in one, or they can pick up all in one package. And so that's something that we're developing out. Now, they did very well at the grand opening. Everybody, all the tenants were very pleased. James did about, that's the Peace Love Eats, did $4,200 in business. He sold about 500 smoothies and 420 entrees. And if you know his space, to do the prep work for that and have the space, you know, to just house that level of inventory is pretty impressive. Crazy Potatoes did about 4,000 in business. And so yesterday I went back and talked to everybody who was open and said, so what did you learn? Because this is a learning process. And so what Keela from Crazy Potatoes said is that without my family here, I could have never done this. But it's learning, it's helping them make the adjustments, and I said, so what else? And she said, yes, we need to do a lot more advanced prep work, so that time that it takes to bake those potatoes, they could have been at least 50% pre-baked, and so the last, you know, keeping them hot and doing the final baking. So but it's learning, it's what they're there for. And like the retailers, I kept going around and talking to them and making sure they were out engaging the public. So you need to, and nobody should walk by your store that you're not saying hello to. Just common courtesy things that you don't get in a regular mall. This is not a regular mall. And so it's helping them understand that people-to-people connection and how to be more successful. Let's see if I missed anything. Do you have any questions for me? I'm glad to answer any questions.
Hey Terry, I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
Did we capture any data on how people learned about the grand opening? I know it sounds like we did social media, we did, I'm sure, word of mouth, but do we know?
I think that's
the biggest
Vanessa
driver?
question.
We did, so when people walked into the space, we were registering people on iPads, and so one of the questions was, how did you learn about the event? Yeah, so once we, we'll go back and, you know, extrapolate everything and put it on an Excel spreadsheet and find out.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think once we can get all of their social media networked within each other, then we can do a little more outreach. Right, until now, we've depended on them to do it themselves, and now I'm gonna formalize it, and we're gonna bring in somebody who's gonna help us do it, and help them understand how to do a better job at it.
And we're also gonna, on the growdesoto.org website, we'll, you know, put their do a hot link on the directory page to their individual websites and their social media.
Yeah, and we've captured all of that and have sent that on to Vanessa. Okay?
One other
Yeah.
suggestion I would make for a class or a workshop is something on data. I know people run away from data, or the word data scares some people, but it's so critical to them, to the success of their business. So maybe there's a sexier word than data, but I think we may want to consider doing some kind of workshop.
Well, one of the things that we're doing in phasing them, James, with Peace Love Eats, is averaging about $17,000 a month in revenue. And so I'm taking him to the next level. And that next level is working with the CPA, understanding all of his financials, start planning ahead to, once you have a year's worth of data under your belt, but in the meantime, getting him to bank his money rather than thinking he can spend it. because I want them forward thinking to their future. And if you're gonna need, we'll have him work with a commercial realtor so that they understand the cost. And it could be Monty and his group, but understand what it's gonna cost, because you're in a sweet spot right now where your expenses are controlled. That's not gonna happen when they're in their own space. It's not unheard of for a restaurant that just their water bill alone is $300 to $500 a month. So help them understand what's it gonna take to go to your future plan, and then help them begin banking that money so that they can, in 2 to 3 years, whenever they're ready, they can go to that next step. So
Right.
that's part of what we're. putting
And
into-
understanding their customer.
Yeah, yeah.
Their customer.
So it's, the unfortunate part with them is they're so busy running their business that it's hard for them to, make
Yeah.
that mental break for the training, but they need to do the training. And so that's been the challenge, is when can I get them into a class? So right now, we're doing just that first Monday of the month to get them into some kind of training program. And we try and do a little bit at each of the tenant meetings. But the tenant meetings is really meant to be a communication for them, for us to share with them what we're doing, and them to share with us what, if there are frustrations or if they have recommendations, and then, really get them engaged in the process. And they're required to attend those meetings, it's not optional.
Great, wonderful. Any other questions?
I was looking here at this, the CPA piece, you said financials and growth plans. Are you going, just listening to you and your story about run out of food, first of all, I know you're gonna look at the financials, but also, do they help them develop those strategic growth plans?
Yes.
That allow them to then begin to understand cash flow management?
Yeah.
To be able to say, I'm gonna grow myself internally out of this situation, I'm buying the next machine next Thursday.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the kind of management
Yep.
that they need, the focus that they need in order to get, because a lot of them can't go get a loan, so they have to do it internally themselves.
Absolutely,
If
absolutely.
he's banking that kind of money, I don't know what his margin is on that kind of money, but what's your next product you need to grow that business?
Absolutely.
And out of that cash flow, it needs to be disciplined enough to set over here, to say, I'm getting that next machine.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the heavy training, because the problem that they have, and I had it growing as a small business too, is that at the end of the day, you're working in the business and you really can't see the business.
Right, you
But
can't
you
work on
get
the business.
outside of the business, and then
Right.
you get to work on the
Right.
business. So hopefully these CPAs will be able to help them get outside of it,
Right.
be able to see these things.
And
go
then,
from there.
when they meet with their CPA, once a month, I will meet with them and the CPA,
Okay.
and that's part of the agreement with the CPA, is that but the client is given permission for me to sit in on those meetings. And what we'll be doing is looking at, what's the industry standard for what should be your cost of food?
Right.
And then how can we compare those costs? Because they don't know to ask those questions. And so that's part of the training process that we're putting through, is to understand what questions to ask and how they need to be controlling themselves. Because, James came to me already, and he's only been in business for 2 months, and he's already talking about expansion, and I said, hold up.
Well, that's because there might not be a real strong strategic growth plan.
That's
That
right.
when you sit down and have that next meeting with them,
Right.
that plan becomes the baseline of how we grade you.
Yeah.
Are you getting along? Are you meeting these goals and these expectations before we say, oh, I'm ready to go to Cowboy Stadium? So I'm telling you, you go to Cowboy Stadium, that's a whole different game.
That's right.
Totally different
Literally.
game. Literally, from where we are at $350 a month. You understand? When you get in the real world, it's a completely different game.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
like you said, water costs, utility costs, I got all the costs. Director of water, we got all the costs. Right, sir? So,
Yeah,
anyway,
yes.
all right, thank you.
Terry, as the packager for your loan program, the EDC board, one of the things that is most frustrating to me is they don't understand the importance of their credit.
Yes.
Please talk to them about either credit repair or credit maintenance, because to take it to the next level, often, that, you're not doing that with cash.
It's not often, your credit. is
Almost
gonna
every
be in
time
the
you're
game.
doing,
Exactly
you're not
right.
doing that with cash.
Right.
Exactly
So
right.
you gotta make sure that you can borrow the money, to grow your business. And
Right.
often, that is their obstacle.
Yep.
Very good.
Yeah, and we'll be working on all of that.
Okay.
But right now, James is the only one who is ready to begin talking about it, because everybody else is just learning
Yeah.
inventory.
Baby
And-
steps.
and, yeah, the small steps.
Right.
But I'm there with them every day and encouraging them. And sometimes kind of yelling at them, saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? Think about how the public sees you, and think about how, what's the message you wanna send to them. And I do it in a nice way, I don't really yell at them, but I do it kind of in an instructional way to say, you know what, if you're gonna sit back in the corner, nobody's gonna approach you. So you need to be out in front of your store, you need to be talking to people, engaging them as they walk by. And they're very receptive to that, so.
And you said James is averaging about 17,000 a month?
Yes. His goal is 1,500 a day, and so, you know, when he reaches that, that's a good day for him. He did set his initial goal at 1,000 a day, and he reached that almost immediately. And so he upped it to 1,500 a day, and he's only open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He's not open Monday and Tuesday.
Do you think that a lot of his success with getting people in is a result of some sort of marketing that he's doing, or just an unintended consequence of the fact that he's serving?
Oh, no, they're very actively marketing. They're doing a lot of social media. They've had several interviews on major media. Yeah, he's doing a good job.
So
And
that is-
so's Mary.
That is sustainable.
Yeah,
It sounds like it's sustainable.
yeah.
You
It
said
could- it
Mary
could
with the
probably-
license plates?
Mary's doing a fabulous
Oh,
job
she's
of
the
social media.
She's a company.
Yeah,
She did the,
Delightful Sweets.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
superintendent's reception, she did a great job. They
Oh,
did.
I wanna say
Okay.
one of my friends is assisting her with her social media.
Okay.
She's a social media marketer. And
Okay.
so I know that her husband is a client of hers.
Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Terry, appreciate your work. All right, I wanna say just real quick, when I stepped on the EDC board, I didn't realize that I would learn so much about potatoes. But and I also wanna say that our president, Belinda May, is currently, on a trip that got postponed because of hurricanes. So that's why she couldn't be here today, but we're glad and we hope that she does not meet another hurricane on her return. At this time, it is now 10:15. I'm going to adjourn this meeting and we're gonna step into executive session. Thank you for all of those of you who have been involved. We appreciate your attendance and your input. Have a good day. Texas Government Code, section 551.074, personnel matters. Texas Government Code, section 501.074, personnel matters, annual performance review of the DEDC's CEO. That's what we'll be doing. We are out of executive session, and right now it is 11:04. I'm gonna call our meeting back, our general meeting back to order, and we're gonna have there's no action that comes out of our executive session, so we're just gonna be briefed by our CEO, Greg Newman.
Two things I don't have on my report. The chamber banquet coming up, I need to know how many people want to go to that. There's some little twist this year that I think you'll want to attend, but we need to reserve, a table or two tables or whatever we need to do. And the other thing I want to thank Bobby and Vanessa for taking care of a good industrial prospect for me while I was in China. I think, from what I understand, it's a pretty decent prospect. We're one of 4 communities that are looking at. And the other thing, this is just kind of the general, nothing earth-shattering in this report, other than, once you see I guess it'd be page 3, just real quick, to kind of give you an update of that. I tried to get that loan back, and I contacted the two owners. One owns 60% of the project, and the other one his partner owns 40%. And I tried to get our $65,000 back. I got no response. I sent them a registered letter, registered certified, I forget. Anyway, to both of the partners, got no response. So at that point, I had to turn it over to our attorney. And so there's a demand letter saying that we're going to pursue if we don't hear from by the end of this month. But I want to give you that update.
Right.
I'll give you just a second to look that over. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer.
Joe, what's the date of the banquet?
The day of the banquet is the Saturday, the 11th.
Okay.
I wrote myself a note. Saturday, 10th, November 10th.
Okay.
And of course, we'll pay for the spouse also, if you have a spouse that'd like to attend the banquet. And it's in Dallas.
Where are you gonna have it?
You,
Is that the Edison?
Edison,
Yeah, I've never been there, so.
Oh, where is it?
Edison's, it's a
Oh,
kind of
yeah, I know
a
where it is.
event.
There on Lamar?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Sales tax is doing well. I know y'all, it's one of the great that y'all have, rated on. We're up 12.69% for the calendar year. Or the, no, I'm sorry, that was the month to month. We're up about 10%. Let's see.
Yes.
Any questions or comments?
That's good. Anybody have any questions or comments for Joe on his report? Great. All right, any board announcements? Anybody have anything you want to share? We mentioned the chamber gala that's coming up. Any other city events we need to? Okay, none, then I will.
Oh, can I just say one thing?
Yes, you can. You just made one.
On November 12th, the city of Milwaukee is bringing a delegation to the incubator. So they're staying at DeSoto Glow, and we're arranging to have them eat lunch at the incubator. So anybody that, you know, is in this room is obviously invited. And we've scheduled, like, it's a 9 to 5 thing, but obviously if you can't be there all day.
Yeah.
But, you know, they wanna emulate this project in the city of Milwaukee, so.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks for
Mhm.
remembering
Yep.
that. It's on my calendar. You should have all probably gotten a calendar invitation. You sent one, yeah. So
Yes.
so it's on there already, so thank you for that.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, sir.
If not, I'm gonna call the meeting at 11:08. Thank you for being here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.